Yesterday, I put a post on Facebook that says, if you're learning from a coach, consultant, teacher, or mentor who hasn't built or isn't building a team, you're learning from a limited perspective. I believe this is fact, and it's very hard to argue. I thought the post would be polarizing, but what I didn't expect was for coaches and consultants that don't have teams to jump in and share their crazy limiting beliefs and the limiting beliefs that they are imposing on their clients. This is important. I'm Alex Sharfin, and this is the Momentum Podcast, made for empire builders, game changers, trailblazers, shot takers, record breakers, world makers, and creators of all kinds. Those among us who can't turn it off and don't know why anyone would want to. We challenge complacency, destroy apathy, and we are obsessed with creating momentum so we can roll over bureaucracy and make our greatest contribution. Sure, we pay attention to their rules, but only so that we can bend them, break them, then rewrite them around our own will. We don't accept our destiny, we define it. We don't understand defeat because you only lose if you stop, and we don't know how. While the rest of the world strives for average and clings desperately to the status quo, we are the minority, the few, who are willing to hallucinate there could be a better future. And instead of just daydreaming of what could be, we endure the vulnerability and exposure it takes to make it real. We are the evolutionary hunters, clearly the most important people in the world, because entrepreneurs are the only source of consistent, positive human evolution, and we always will be. I think the question that I'm going to ask in this podcast is your coach, consultant, mentor, teacher, the person you're learning from, your biggest limitation. And it actually frustrates me to ask that question because for entrepreneurs to ask for help is one of the hardest things we do. I call it the entrepreneur's dilemma. All of us feel the vulnerability, the pain, the challenge of asking for help, but we all know we need far more help than the average person to reach our destination, but any request for help leaves us feeling vulnerable and exposed. And so when an entrepreneur finally raises their hand and asks for help, I want them to get the help that they need. I want them to get into momentum. I want them to get the support they need. And it's part of the reason that I posted this post. If you're learning from a coach, consultant, teacher, or mentor who hasn't built or isn't building a team, you're learning from a limited perspective. Well, here's the bottom line. Try arguing the opposite of that. If somebody's built a team, they have more perspective. If somebody's grown a larger company, they have a larger business perspective. If somebody's had to go through the vulnerability and the challenge of asking for help and building an organization and coaching a team and leading a company, they have a far more robust perspective than somebody who hasn't. I don't see how you could argue any other way. However, more than one person did. In fact, let me read to you one of the responses that I got. It actually says, "Eek. I'm not 100% on board with this. I definitely see what you are saying and where you're coming from. However, there are plenty of people who just simply want to be an entrepreneur and not a CEO. In fact, I would argue that there are plenty of people that have no business being a CEO. Their skill set, temperament, management ability, etc. do not serve them well in that arena. But I'm not trying to argue with you because I know what you teach and the angle you take. So from your perspective, I'd agree 100%. Let's take a step back. Here's the challenge with what was just said. Let me reread this one part of this statement from a coach who's coached what he claims to be thousands of people. He says, their skill set, temperament, management ability do not serve them well in this arena. I want you to know something about entrepreneurs, and I want you to know something about how I look at entrepreneurs. I don't see limitation when I look at entrepreneurs. I don't look at someone like us and say there is a skill set challenge, there is a temperament challenge. Because here's what I know. When entrepreneurs are excited about something, when they find the thing that's going to help them change the world, when they see the potential to go out and leave their dent in the universe, introverts will act like extroverts. People who have a challenging temperament will suddenly become a lot easier to be around. We will adjust. Entrepreneurs are called chameleons all the time. Why? Because when it matters to us, we'll go out and get it. So as a coach or a consultant or a teacher, I would never impose this limitation on you. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. Here's why. I think there's way too many coaches and consultants out there who aren't doing the work themselves. And I'm not saying that this person isn't, but I'm saying there's way too many coaches out there, way too many consultants out there that aren't doing the work themselves. And they start with a predefined limitation on the people that they're coaching. And so I want you to make sure that you do not let your coach become your biggest limitation. Because I feel like that's happening every single day in the entrepreneurial world, every single day. In fact, I push myself daily into vulnerability and exposure and to the feelings of discomfort of growing a business and growing a team so that I know that I'm never the limitation for my clients. I don't want to be one step ahead or two steps ahead. I want to be so far ahead that I can share with my clients with perspective what we're going to help them do and how we're going to help them move forward. Here's the discovery. Here's the belief I want you to take on is one of the big challenges. We all look at quote unquote well-known experts and we trust them. But the problem with trusting well-known experts because they're well-known is we need to know what they're really doing. You should dig deeper and see, is the person you're following, is the person mentoring you, teaching you, coaching you, consulting with you? I say all of those because on the post that I made, we got into a semantic discussion of the difference between coach and consultant. I want you to understand, I don't see a difference. If you're learning from someone and they have a limited perspective, you are learning from a limited perspective. Here's why this is important. Number one, don't let anyone limit your potential. Anyone. If you're learning from a coach or a consultant or someone who is teaching you and they see you as less than you can be, they are going to limit your potential. When we accept somebody into our course, when we accept somebody into our coaching, here's what I know. 100% of our clients have the ability to get to 9 figures and beyond. Why? They are using the Billionaire Code framework. We're going to show them how. Entrepreneurs grow over time. I would never take a snapshot of somebody right now and say, this is always who they're going to be. I don't care if you lack the temperament or the skill set or the ability or any of those things. You can change temperament. You can adopt a skill set. You can change how you look at things and you can grow like crazy. And entrepreneurs, if there's one thing we do, it's evolve. Look at yourself 5 years ago. How much different are you today? So there's no way I would impose that limitation on you. And number two, why this is important is you're going to be influenced by the limitations and the limiting beliefs of your teachers. That's just a fact. Your teachers are going to see you through the lens of their lives. So if they're not in shape, they're not going to see you as getting in shape. If they're not wealthy, they're not going to see you as getting wealthy. If they've never built a team, they're not going to see it as important for you. So if you want to be in shape and wealthy and have a big team, then find somebody who has those things. Otherwise, you are learning from a limited perspective. And then this is the big one. I get a little emotional about this. Here's why. I want to defend you against coaches who don't see you as everything you can be. I want to defend you against the products out there who put you in a box. I want to defend you against the consultants, the teachers who think that they are superior to you and that you can't grow to exceed them, because I know you can. And anyone, I mean anyone, who has the entrepreneurial personality type and is dedicated enough and cares enough and wants to enough can change the world. You want to talk about limitations? My friend John Morrow navigates the entire world through a straw. He uses his face. He can't move any part of his body at all. He needs a machine to breathe for him. Yet John runs a multi-million-dollar company. He's one of the top, he is the top blogger in the entire world. If you go to unstoppable.me, you can see his articles that get hundreds of thousands of hits. And John has a team of almost 20 people, a big percentage of whom just keep him alive. So if John Morrow can run a game-changing, world-changing company, why can't you? Don't accept anybody's limiting beliefs about who you are, your temperament, where you can go, or any of those things. Because here's what I can see. I've helped hundreds of entrepreneurs build teams. I've helped some of the most challenging personalities and frustrated people and difficult to deal with people build teams and become transformational leaders, because we evolve when we are given the opportunity. Don't let anyone stand in your way. So here's what you should do. Look at every coach, teacher, mentor, consultant, anyone showing you anything right now, and ask yourself, are they where you want to be? And get realistic here. Like, don't say, oh, well, there's some things I want and some things I don't, because you're going to be influenced by all of the person who's teaching you. So ask yourself, are they where you want to be? Second, are they actively evolving? Or is the person you're learning from stuck in a rut doing the same thing, imposing limiting beliefs on people that are completely unfair and not who you really are? And number three, don't ever let a coach or consultant become a limitation. I want you to understand this has happened to me. I've actually been in masterminds and coaching groups in consulting arrangements where I didn't really think about the person who I was learning from. And I stayed in those relationships too long. Sure, I got value, but I stayed in them too long because I was learning from someone who didn't want to build a team. I was learning from someone who didn't want to build an organization. I was learning from someone who didn't see the value in building a game-changing empire. and leaving a massive dent in the universe. And that's what I want to do. And so I stayed in the wrong coaching relationships for too long, and they created a limitation in my life. And I'm glad I'm in place now where I'm learning from people who are building massive teams. One of my coaches, Russell Brunson, is probably building the fastest growing team in the country, possibly in the world right now. When you look at ClickFunnels, self-funded over $100 million a year, that's who I'm learning from. I'm learning from people who are growing empires, who are growing businesses, who are growing teams, who are going to change the world. So here's what I want you to do. Do your research and understand who you're working with. Dig deeper. Find out who they're working with. Talk to their team members. Talk to clients of theirs. Find out the results they're getting. See how far they're really moving people forward. Here's why. You know that saying that you're going to be the same person you are today in 5 years, except for the books you read, the seminars you attend, and the people you learn from? Well, let's be real. The people you learn from is the biggest one of those. The ones who you're up close and personal with, the ones who you commit to, the ones who you let into your lives, the ones who you take on as mentors, teachers, consultants, coaches, that is going to have the biggest influence on you. And so you need to dig deeper and see if the person you're learning from is really where you want to be. You need to see how many limiting beliefs they have. Do they see you as someone who doesn't have the skill set, temperament, management ability, etc.? What a joke. If that's how they see you, then you're in trouble at the beginning. So here's my suggestion. Dig deeper. Understand who you're working with. Make certain that they see you as who you want to be and they are where you want to be, or they are going to be your biggest limitation. And here's why this is so important. Your future depends on it. That's all. If you want help with this, if you want to work with someone who doesn't see limitations in entrepreneurs and an organization who has built the systems, the frameworks, the processes to help you grow and scale a business, take advantage of the opportunity you've created, and go out and make a massive change in the world, reach out to us. Spend some time on the phone with one of our salespeople and understand how we can help you. Whether it's now or later, you will never get high pressure from us, but understand our offering so when you need it, you can pull the trigger. Here's all you have to do. Go to billionairecode.com, answer a few questions for my team. You will get a free download of the Billionaire Code Decoded, our ebook that explains the Billionaire Code, the 9 levels we go through from 0 to 100 million. Let us show you exactly where you are, what you should be focused on, and how you can create insane momentum right now. And don't let anyone in your life ever limit who you are, who you can be, and the contribution you can make, because it doesn't matter what disease, disorder, diagnosis, issue, challenge, whatever you're dealing with, one of us has dealt with it, overcome it, and gone on to change the world, and you can too. billionairecode.com.